Hey everybody, Paul here. Welcome to the channel. In this video today, I actually have a special guest with me today, Pablo Arias, who is an expert in all kinds of things that expats deal with and helping them relocate, logistics. He's been at it for a really long time. How long have you been at it in helping people
Close
relocate?
to 15 years in next coming up October. Yeah, 15 years helping people move from one country to another.
So Pablo's seen a lot in that period of time. He's a wealth of information on how to move to a country, but he's also seen when things haven't worked out for expats and they've gone back to their home countries. And that's what we're going to be talking about today is what are some of the reasons that that happens? And this is a great video to watch before you make the move so you can kind of consider these things before you go. But before we jump into it, Pablo, you have a new Facebook group for Mexico. I'd like you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we have it's called the Expat Community. It's a platform with information for the expats. Within this community, we launch a Facebook group. It's already open. We have about 50 members, so we just start with this. But I have groups like this in other places. In Costa Rica, we have 29,000 members.
Wow.
Just to give you an example, it just grows. It's interesting because it's very helpful. Like people come, ask questions, and you have the entire community answer. What is their experience with different things? Who is a good service provider? Be careful with this, be careful with that. And sometimes, people will come to a video, like one of your videos, and you get all of this information. But sometimes, they just want to have ask something. Where can I get this?
Mhm.
Could you guys anything? You can ask anything, and you have the entire community helping you, and that's the entire idea.
All right. That's I mean, that's fantastic because you can't get enough information or too much information when you're moving somewhere. So I'm going to be sharing that URL. It'll be in the description section of this video, and I'm also going to pin it to the top of the comment section. So now let's go ahead and jump into what we're talking about. We all move to new countries with the best of intentions and lots of hopes and dreams. And sometimes it doesn't work out. And I've been reporting on Mexico for about 9 years now, and you have 15
Wow.
years of experience with expats and things. So we've both seen it where it doesn't work out for folks. So why don't you give us what your top reasons are that you've seen that it hasn't worked out for folks and they've had to go home?
Well, it's sad. It's I mean this is very interesting. A lot of people come very excited. Okay, I'm now moving to Mexico. Oh, I fall in love with Playa del Carmen. Wow, Baja California, it's amazing, right? Uh, there is a lot to it. There is a lot of different things that you need to learn and that you need to adjust. And I'm in a position like my business is about shipping. That's I help people with the international shipping part, and people will call me for years. It's been years, and it's still now. I get maybe once a month an email, a comment, somebody saying, "Pablo, I had this issue. I need to move back." And I've been
Mm,
trying to see this trend
mhm,
of it's almost always the same reasons. They're always the same reasons why people, okay, I made it, I'm very excited, I'm moving to Cancun. 6 months later, a year and a half later, oh Paulo, things did not work out. And I have these things, I think I know, I guess, the most popular reasons why things do not work out.
mhm,
Obviously, you know missing home or homesick is the most logical thing. It's like, okay, oh, you're homesick, you want to move home, so you can call it homesick, um, as
So you'd
being
call
one of
number
them.
one probably homesick. That's the first one on our list here.
Yeah, but that's like, it's a very general label, right? And that's because, to me, going more deep into this is because you're not adjusting well to the local culture. It's
Mhm,
more like, okay, why do I miss home? Is because what you have in Mexico every day, you're having this friction with many different things, and we talk about it all the time. It could be from bureaucracy, it could be from the system, it could be that you're coming from a different weather, and then it's too hot or then it's too humid, things like that. Or it could also be that you're missing some of your family members or your friends, so you're missing something back home, but it's mainly because uh, you're having friction with the rest of the things around your life when you are
mhm.
in Mexico. A lot of people think they're very excited to do it. They do this move, but your excitement is usually over 6 months, a year after you move. First you are in motion, you are executing, you're like moving, you're doing this, you're buying a property, you're doing immigration, you're doing all these things. You get VC, so you don't have much of time to experience what's living. uh,
Hmm.
and some people may still feel like they're in the vacation mode, which is not the same thing. uh,
No.
so that also, another way to call this is called false, having false expectations. It's also part of this homesickness, false expectations. And that, I believe, it comes because most people make their expectations out of a vacation in Mexico. Of course, of course you fall in love with Mexico if you're drinking margaritas or mezcalitas, every afternoon in
You're
a
like, this is a
rooftop.
great life. Yeah.
Yeah, like imagine yourself every afternoon in a rooftop in Playa del Carmen overlooking the ocean with a mezcalita, you know.
Hmm.
But let's be honest, that's not real life. You cannot afford to live with mezcalitas every night, every day, every afternoon. You still have to work. You still have to, have do your errands, and that's where real life in Mexico could hit you, and you have to start dealing with other things that. So that adjustment, I think, is the first
Hmm.
one. I would say the adjustment, you could call it false expectations or homesick or missing something from home or not adjusting very well.
And I've seen that. That's usually hitting around that, probably around the 1 year mark, 6 months to about a year and a half, somewhere in there. That's when people are like, I call it the honeymoon phase ended, and they're like, okay, Paul, I'm moving back. I hear them too, and I'm like, why? One guy, he's like, it's hot. I'm like, well, yeah, it's the Riviera Maya. If you see
You
palm
know that.
trees, it's hot. You don't see palm trees in Alaska, you know. And then he also
Yeah.
said and then he said he'd only been in Mexico about 6 months, and then he says, well, I haven't picked up Spanish as quickly as I thought. I thought I'd be fluent by now. Also, not a very realistic expectation. So
Hmm.
he bought a condo, bought a car, everything was new. And then about six months into it, looks at his wife and says, I want to go back. And she's like, what? And that's why I always tell people, before you buy a lot of things, why don't you just come and live in Mexico for a while? Rent a place, see what it's like, see if you can get used to the lifestyle before you invest everything in this new life, you
S-
know?
Slow down. I always say,
Yeah,
and this
slow
is
down.
this goes against my business. I always say, don't ship anything. Wait a year. But realistically, I think people should wait 2 years before they make a big investment. That's the realistic thing. Sometimes I also feel, I'm not a psychologist, but sometimes I feels, by talking to this many people over the years, it feels like, once again, I'm not a psychologist, and it's just a feeling I have. People
Hmm.
sometimes make these big moves to another place, to another city. Maybe within the U.S., the same thing happens. They make this big move because they're running away from something. Maybe they got into a divorce, or maybe something happened. Maybe they got fired, or they're something happened in their life. They want to, it's kind of escaping from, and I hear
Hmm.
this, or they're escaping from. Oh, I hate the politics, here or in
The,
Canada. This
the
is
the
happening.
politics, yeah, the politics is one of the big ones. They're like, I hate the politics, so I'm going to move to a whole nother country that also has politics. They just don't know what they are. That's the only difference. You have
Mexico
no
is
idea what they
just
are.
not. I don't think the politics in Latin America are even better than in the U.S.
No,
It's
I
just
don't think
politics.
so
It's
either.
politics is everywhere.
Yeah.
So I feel their own reasons could also be, a reason why they don't make it. Wrong
Hmm.
reasons. You're escaping from something. I think it's better for you to work on yourself before you make this big move. Otherwise, nothing is going to change. Sometimes what you have inside of you is what you have inside of you. You have to work that out in Florida, Ontario, or Mexico. It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Not, once again, I'm not a psychologist, but this is just my gut feeling after talking to people, that people's just not happy with what they have, or maybe not thankful enough, and then just start making big decisions, make a huge investment,
Yeah,
buy
big
three
changes.
hundred thousand dollar 300,000 apartment in the Riviera Maya, or a property in San Miguel de Allende is not going to fix fix you, you know. Or
No.
the same thing, the same thing will go with you know, they with relationships. Sometimes relationships, either family or having a couple, this is another reason, is uh sometimes this is your dream, and I see it very often. uh
Mhm.
it is your dream, you want to move to Costa Rica or Panama or Mexico. It's your dream, but your wife is not in the same level. She doesn't have the same interest. Maybe,
Yeah.
she's in Chicago and she likes the city life better than, living on a little villa in near around San Miguel Allende, where she's got to drive 30 minutes to see the next grocery store.
Mhm.
I'm not saying this is the reality for the entire Mexico. You could be living Mexico City and have all that, but uh, you have to make sure your family is coming along with you and get them engaged from the very
That
beginning and
same
say,
yeah,
okay,
that same enthusiasm.
if you make the call or you're thinking about moving to another country, you better make sure your kids are excited about it, and then you want to have your family support. Otherwise, it could be a big reason why your entire journey fails. Because, okay, I'm
Mhm.
now in Mexico, but my kids, they don't want to be here. My wife, that they don't want
Mhm.
to be here, and the very minimum excuse for them to leave, or for them to say, "Oh, I should be back in my home city," they're gonna throw that at you all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, something happened. The police stopped me. This happened, or, oh man, I wish I'm back in California. And this
Mhm.
is this is gonna get you tired, and then you eventually gonna give up.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've seen that where, yeah, the family doesn't they're not as invested in or as excited about the dream, and then it does cause, problems in the relationship, so
I've
that's another
seen
reason people go back, yeah, or at least one of them goes back. Not everybody, but
that's what I was gonna say. This I seen it
Mhm.
where I had people call me because husband wants to move back, and they got into a divorce out of a relocation, out of my wife wants to
Mm.
stay here, I need to go back because I hate this place. I seen it
Mhm.
like that. So it could be, you could be destroying the most important relationship of your life out of this big move. So it's another thing to consider. Bring your family along the way with you. Make sure everybody's in the same place with this.
Mhm.
I think it's a good idea. Another one I would say is health reasons, for health purposes. Even though health in general is less expensive in Mexico and you can
Mhm.
save money in general, uh, but especially from some Canadians and people in Europe, where they have a social health system.
Yeah.
Uh, if
Yeah,
you need
I have
help,
seen that.
yeah, if you need help in Canada, uh, it's free. It's part of your social security system for Canadians, and so many countries in Europe as well. Uh,
Mhm.
so you want to make sure when you're doing this that you have all these bases covered, especially if you are in the retirement years, where you might have to go to the doctor every now and then. You want to make sure that's taken care of and it's part of your decision making process. Some people, I see it all the time, they end up buying a beautiful, gorgeous property, but it's an hour away from the
Yeah,
nearest
from
hospital.
everything, yeah.
Uh, so health is another important reason. And I'll say the last one, and I think is the most important one, is because you being new in a new market, in a new territory, in a new town, you could be a target.
A
Let's
target
face it,
for
for everything. I
crime,
mean,
scammers,
you could be
people take
for many
advantage of you.
different things.
Mm.
People could take advantage of you a lot easier. If you are from New York, I know I have friends from New York with this heavy accent. Hey, Pablo, da, da, strong, New York accent, or somebody from Chicago. What is it that you're doing all day? Trust me, you're walking into you walk on this main avenue. You're walking fast. You're looking at your shoulder. You are thinking about you get an email, you get a little text. It's like, oh, is this for real? You
Mhm,
are alert all the time. You're in a big city, right? And
mhm.
it's also a little feeling. I see it all the time where people come and they relax and they okay, and they all this other their taxi driver is the real estate investment advisor.
Yeah.
So just think
Mm.
about it. I mean, where in the world would you use your taxi driver as your investment advisor, especially in another country?
No, I've seen that,
So
or the waiter at their favorite restaurant or something like that. It's just you wouldn't do that back home. No, I don't know why they do that.
exactly. So there's a lot of, and I have this discussion with my friends. I have a lot of immigration attorney friends and real estate people friends in this industry. Uh, it seems like people just make really not smart decisions when they're abroad. They just relax a
Mhm.
lot. Uh, they get married with the wrong person. Oh, somebody in their 60s, 55, 60s. They met this gorgeous,
20-year
30,
old.
25-year old Mexican cute girl. And that's okay. They fell in love. But think about it. Let's just think about it.
Yeah.
In
I've
your
seen those not
hometown,
go
would
well.
you,
Yeah.
I seen guys losing everything, their entire investment. Uh, True story. Guy married this lady, spent almost a year together. He said, "Oh, I need to move. I need to go back to the States for a season. I have to work. I have to do this. Maybe 3 months, but it could be more." He needed to step out from Costa Rica. This was in Costa Rica for a few months, and then she asked him, "Well, what if I need to do something? What if like?" And she said, "Well, can you have my sign a power of attorney if I needed to do something?" In his way back, he was out of his house. All of his locks got changed, and he was out of the
Wow.
house. And he tried to get inside of the house, and she said, "If you don't go away, I call the police on you." And that was it. He lost a lot, everything. So that's one
Wow.
case. Another horrible case is I remember a guy called me uh, in the 70s, 71, 72, builder guy who came into Costa Rica after he builds properties in large houses in the US with money.
Mhm.
He did a successful life, about to retire, and he said, "Well, I'm now going to Costa Rica. Before I retire, I'm gonna make this project happen in Costa Rica. That's my dream." So he bought this beautiful lot overlooking the ocean on the north side of Costa Rica. It's called Guanacaste.
Nice.
Built 5 villas, 5 large houses. So he called me because things did not work out. And when he called me to pick up all of his tools, all of his power tools, all of his gear for construction, ship everything back. Uh,
Back to the
Apparently
US?
what happened back to the US, because apparently what happened with him is he bought a piece of property that the government would never allow water, a well on his property, so he cannot legally have properties on this property. So what ended up happening
Wow.
is he put about $4 billion into this big project. He could not sell anything because nobody was going to buy a property without water. And
Mhm.
he had at his 73-year old age go back to the United States to restart his construction business to try to make
Make up all
another
that money you
little.
lost? Wow.
Exactly. So I don't know what to
Mm.
say. There's this many reasons, and I think, and this is actually the reason I got touched. This was maybe 8 years ago. I got touched because I said, well, it has to be a better way. It has to be a better way. So a lot of people that could take advantage of you, from somebody that you met,
Mhm.
you get married with somebody, or everybody wants to sell you real estate. Don't buy real estate, man. They just wait, and just relax. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the country. Opportunities are gonna come.
Oh,
Houses,
yeah.
properties are gonna come to you if you wait. If you're smart about it, you can even buy them for cheap, for less
Mhm.
for less money. There is
From
somebody
an
else
expat
that
that's going back. Yes.
that
Those are the
yeah,
fire
exactly.
sales. Yeah.
So if you wait, real estate agents are gonna hate me, right?
They're gonna
All
hate
of
you
my
for this one.
if you wait enough, it happens to me. I have purchased things, cars, properties out of a big discount because I'm leaving. This project did not work out, and uh, so I'll say, just take your time, enjoy, and learn
Mhm.
as much as possible. Watch this type of information as much as possible, and surround yourself with professionals that are trustworthy. And that's not as hard to find. It's hard for me to understand why people would just use their taxi driver as a real estate agent, or the waitress costing us their legal advisor.
Yep.
It's not
It
hard to
doesn't make
find the
any
good
sense.
people. It's easy. It's easy to find the good people. Google reviews. Go
Hmm.
into these Facebook groups and ask who is a good immigration attorney. And you have 3 people, 4 people saying, "This lady, Adriana Vela, did my immigration." And
Hmm.
1, 2, 3. You have 5 people telling you organically out of their heart, this is a good service provider. Then you check references. Then you have Google reviews.
Well, there's one other thing you didn't mention that I've seen people go back for, and that is they came as a couple and they both loved
Mm.
it, but then one of them passed away. I've seen
Oh,
that
yeah.
several times, especially because you're talking about a lot of retirees come down,
Yep.
etc. And then once one of them passes, then the other person has to decide, do I want to continue my life in our dream by myself? And some of the ones I've seen stay will stay for a while because they like the community, they have friends now. But most of them will end up going back to the US or
I
Canada
seen
or
it.
wherever they came from. Yeah.
Mhm. No, I seen it. I seen it when they move back to their home country, and I seen it
Hmm.
sometimes where, okay, my dream was in Costa Rica. Can you move me to Panama? I seen
Oh,
things like that.
you've seen people want to
Yeah,
try something else, right? Not all
yeah.
the way
So the
home,
way, because
something
yeah,
else.
but definitely, I seen people moving back, wanting to return. Uh, yeah, wanting to return, and I seen people that have passed in Costa Rica, in Panama. I remember the day in Costa Rica, and she passed, and her family contact me to bring everything back to their country. Things like that happens.
So
Like,
you handle relocation if you're going to these places or back to the home country. And we didn't
mhm.
and you know you run this business, you have a great reputation, and this is kind of a great time for you to talk about it. But you talk about you give advice sometimes it's not going to generate more business for you necessarily when you're like, hey, you should wait a year or two before you come down. And I think that just really speaks volumes for your integrity that you're focused more on people than trying to make that sale or get that deal. That says a lot.
It's not I mean, it's not about a transaction. To me,
Yeah.
I like people a lot. I'm conscious about what's happening, and really touches my heart if I can help somebody. Uh, but I also honestly believe inside of my heart that this is the very best way anybody could do business,
Hmm.
because I have a lot of people that book appointments with my international relocation partner service,
Hmm.
with the shipping service. They book the appointment because they want to work with Pablo. They seen Pablo out there. They see me helping, coordinating things, putting events together, things like that. So it's good. It's good business anyway. And if I give an advice that goes against selling my service, they usually go back to the community, friends, family, and other providers and said, "This is a good guy." And
Hmm.
they refer me
Yeah,
more
it shows.
customers.
Yeah.
And I'll say 90% plus of my customers are word of mouth. And
Hmm.
that means that when the customer comes, they already know a little bit about what we do. And that also means that a lot of them are almost ready to become a real customer, a paying customer. So it's the best way of doing business to me.
You focus on which countries exactly
I
moving
do
to?
international shipping services. I can move to any country, to any country, from the US to any country, or to Canada. We can do,
Hmm.
but we focus intentionally uh, to countries where we can provide more value. And more value than my competition and to anybody else to me is, if you're moving to Mexico, we already have a network of people in Mexico, especially in La Riviera Maya. I have more contacts, more solutions. So if you need, I don't know, maybe you need a property manager uh,
Mm.
to handle your thing. I'm able to introduce you to somebody. That's an additional way for me to provide value. So you need an immigration attorney. So now I know you introduced me, Adriana Vela. She runs this immigration firm.
And
Excellent
she's
lady.
fantastic too. Yeah, she's fantastic.
So
I've known her
so
for
I want
years.
to I want to be able to say, okay, you're moving to Mexico. Here is an immigration attorney. Done. And it creates for me a way to connect with other business owners who are doing the right thing. But it
Hmm.
also creates a way for me to provide more value than any other company. Anybody could do shipping, but not everybody will care about you, provide you contacts, and be diligent about these things. And if we can do that, I think I'm building something special.
Wow. Well, that's fantastic. I wish you the most of luck, best of luck in all of that, in your future endeavors.
Thank
And
you.
you'll see Pablo again. We've done a video before. We'll do more videos. He's a wealth of information, and it's great to hear somebody else's perspective on a lot of these things, and share some
Maybe
of these
we do one
stories.
about shipping. One day we
One
can do
day,
one
yeah, one
about
day we'll
shipping.
actually talk about what you do.
Yeah, sounds
So,
good.
yeah, do you have anything you'd like to add before we end our video,
No,
Pablo?
that's amazing. Please visit our Facebook group, brand new
Mhm.
group. All of the people in this group are business owners and people that can help you. Out of the most of them out of the Riviera Maya and San Miguel Allende. Uh, Good people. So we have 50 people that it's already engaged with the community, but we want to make this community an amazing community. So when you ask questions, you have people with professional knowledge and answer your concerns. We'll be doing a bunch of different things with the group. Hopefully, we were able to do meetups in person in different places in Mexico. We're trying to translate local news into English, things like that.
Oh,
So yeah,
sounds
visit the
great.
group, be part of the group, and see you there.
All right. Well, that's all we have for today. Thank you again for following the channel, and I'll see everybody next time.